Hi, I'm Louis Ball. Welcome to another Colors of Prague, Season 6, Episode 17. So, Wishbone Ash, the Argus album. Sometimes it isn't always easy to write about or speak about music. At times, sounds that sound simple to categorize just aren't. Wishbone Ash dates back to the mid-60s, 1960s, and a few lineups before recording their debut album for MCA in 1970. Argus, their third album, and by far best album, was released in 1972. By then, the band was known for its interesting twin guitar interplay of Andy Powell and Ted Turner. Brother Martin Turner played bass, and all three shared vocals. Steve Upton was the drummer. There's a lot of people, myself included, who bought Argus. Some may still have the album in their collection over 50 years later. Wishbone's Wishbone Ash's early sound is hard to classify, and probably one reason why Argus succeeded. Songs of kings and castles and lands of the past were not unknown of for that time period, but the band's approach was certainly not one of a hard rock or heavy rock sound. Elements of English folk lay the foundation of the mid-tempo songs, utilizing rudimentary basic chord structures. However, the particularly interesting and unique interweaving lead guitar interplay style of the band certainly made them sound unique. Now, as well, Argus features lengthy songs. Time Was knocks on the door of 10 minutes. The King Will Come 7 minutes and Throw Down the Sword at 6 minutes. Now, the band toured widely in the early 1970s, and they even released a live album called Live Dates by MCA Records. But in a way, it was a bit of an uneven, though well liked. A lot of people have live dates, and there's been re-releases and remasters of that. It's a good historical event of the band playing live before they began to fracture. But I found that record, as I said, uneven because there's blues cover songs, and I love the blues, but it's just didn't quite gel for me. Much like the real but much like the real but fictitious band, you'll understand. Final Spinal Tap, um, and Spinal Tap also wrote weird songs about mystical lands and, of course, Stonehenge. Um, and Spinal Tap was the focus of a mockumentary, yes, that's a word, film, and then they toured. Yes, and there were a few Spinal Tap reunion tours. There was recently another Spinal Tap movie. So why do they mention that? You know, the guys in Spinal Tap could never get along, and it's the problem with Wishbone Ash, the lineup. They just couldn't keep it together, although there've been attempts. Now, check this out. There's been 20 studio albums released by Wishbone Ash since their 1970 debut, and over 30 live recordings. But some of them are either attributed to either bands led by Ted Turner, the bassist and co-singer, Martin Turner, and there were dual touring versions of the band. So they were odd marquee value lineup names like Martin Turner's Wishbone Ash, whereas the Andy Powell led version was just billed as Wishbone Ash. And again, that's not to say the band did not try to reunite. 1987, the Argus lineup, yeah, returned with an all-instrumental album called Nouvelle Calls on IRS Records. Does anybody remember that? I guess no one bothered, and the reggae-tinged record quickly gathered dust in cutout bins. 2008 release. It's a mouthful of a title. Martin Turner's Wishbone Ash, Argus Through the Looking Glass. Yes, that's a real title. Might be of interest to progressive music fans, due to John Wetton and Jeff Downes contributing vocal and keyboards to Throw Down the Sword. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I like to hear that myself. Now, I saw the Andy Powell fronted version of Wishbone Ash in 2022, I believe, on the floating Prague Festival Cruise to the Edge. Um, at the time, having barely remembered my then seldom played copy of Argus, I enjoyed them so much, I went out to see them at least twice, once late at night on that cruise. Yes, Argus is, in my opinion, their best album, and it's unique for its sound and its time. Now you can find the 2000 reissue on Universal Island Records. It is a 2 CD deluxe edition featuring the first on the first CD, Argus. And then there's an odd sounding 7-inch single they put on there called No Easy Road. It has them sounding a bit like the Pretty Things. Anybody remember that band? There's a 10-minute version of The Pilgrim, 18-minute version of Phoenix, both originally released as promotional EP singles to radio stations. They appear on the second disc. And then there's a variety of live recorded dates from British radio shows in May 72, 6 from the BBC One's In Concert show. So Argus, definitely a blast from the past for some of you, and maybe at the same time new to some of you, possible, or it's a reminder to dig out that Argus vinyl. I highly recommend this 2007 release, as I mentioned, from Universal Island Records. It's got a lot of great stuff on there, and the live stuff is terrific, the live music. So, Argon, Wishbone Ashes Argus. It's a terrific album and very interesting band. Catch whichever version of the band you would like to see. The Andy Powell one was pretty terrific. That's our show for today. Thank you.